They thought he was worthless. Just another man on the street. Invisible. Forgettable. But nobody knew the truth. That inside this broken, shivering man lived a heart capable of saving someone else's world. On a cold morning that felt like the end of his story, he sat on the sidewalk with nothing but a blanket, a rusty cup, and memories that hurt too much to remember. People walked by him like he didn't exist. Some stared with pity. Others pretended not to see him. But that day, the day he thought would be just another battle for survival, something happened that would prove a powerful truth. The poorest man on the street gave the richest gift of all. The wind was sharp, cutting through the thin blanket on his shoulders. He glanced at his dented metal cup. Just a few coins, barely enough to buy bread. It was all he had. His entire life, reduced to a handful of change. And yet, he didn't complain. He didn't blame anyone. He simply breathed out a whisper. Maybe tomorrow will be kinder. But tomorrow wasn't the one that changed him. Today was. When night came, the cold was merciless. He curled up under cardboard. His body shaking, teeth chattering. Trying to stay alive until sunrise. Every breath felt like it froze halfway out. Every memory of his old life. His job. His family. His failures. Crashed against him like icy waves. He felt forgotten by the world. Forgotten by God. Forgotten even by himself. But in that darkness, something unexpected was about to find him. His mind drifted back to a time when life was warm. When he had a home, a family. Laughter in his ears instead of the sound of passing cars. The flashbacks hurt. They reminded him of everything he had lost. Because of choices, mistakes, and tragedies. He wished he could rewrite. But tonight, those memories served a purpose. They softened his heart. Prepared it for something he didn't know was coming. Then, early morning, he noticed a small boy standing a few feet away. Clothes torn, shoes ripped, cheeks sunken. Eyes filled with hunger and fear. The child wasn't asking for anything. He wasn't begging. He was simply watching him. As if trying to gather courage. The homeless man's heart shifted. He recognized that look. The look of someone who had nothing. As the boy stepped closer, the truth became painfully clear. This child wasn't hungry. He was starving. Holding a broken toy. His little hands trembled. His lips were dry. His stomach growled loud enough to hear. But the saddest part wasn't the hunger. It was his eyes. Eyes that said, he had seen too much pain. For someone so young. The homeless man lifted his head. Their eyes met. Two broken souls. One old, one young. Seeing each other clearly for the first time. And in that moment, something awakened inside him. A warmth. A responsibility. A memory of what it felt like to protect someone. He didn't know this child. But he knew this pain. He looked at his cup. His only source of survival. Just a handful of coins. Then he looked at the boy. Whose hunger was louder than words. He didn't need to think long. Kindness doesn't always wait. Sometimes it just moves. Slowly, he reached for the cup. With trembling hands, he pushed the entire cup of coins toward the child. The boy froze. His eyes widened. No one had ever given him this much. Not strangers. Sometimes not even life. The man whispered softly. For you. He gave away everything. Because sometimes, the heart understands what logic cannot. The boy's eyes filled with tears. He didn't know what to say. He had never received a gift like this. Not money. But compassion. The homeless man smiled. A broken smile. Yet filled with warmth. He didn't think about his own hunger. He didn't think about tomorrow. He gave because someone needed it more. The boy clutched the coins with shaking hands. For a moment, he hesitated. As if he didn't believe what had just happened. Then suddenly, he turned and ran down the street. Not out of fear. But out of desperation. Out of need. The homeless man watched him go. His heart strangely warm. Despite giving away the only thing he owned, for the first time in months, he felt human again. He looked down at the cup. Now completely empty. No coins. No food. No backup plan. No safety. Just metal. Cold and silent. But somehow, he didn't feel poor. In that moment, he felt richer than he had in years. Kindness filled the emptiness. Better than money ever did. Across the street, a woman had been watching. She saw the boy. She saw the cup. She saw the generosity. But most importantly, she saw the man's heart. She crossed the street slowly. Almost in disbelief. As if witnessing something holy. In an ordinary city morning. Some moments are small on earth. But loud in heaven. The woman knelt beside him. You gave him everything. Didn't you? The man shrugged. A shy smile on his weathered face. He needed it more. His voice cracked. But his eyes were still kind. The woman felt tears forming. How could someone with nothing give so much? She looked at his shaking hands. The thinness of his arms. The exhaustion in his eyes. When was the last time you ate? She asked gently. He tried to laugh it off. Yesterday, maybe. Not sure. But the truth was written on his face. He hadn't eaten in days. And still, he gave everything away. The woman reached into her bag and pulled out a warm sandwich, a bottle of water, and a small blanket. The man stared, confused. He wasn't used to receiving, only surviving. This is for you, she said softly. A little gift. For the kindness you showed. He didn't know how to respond, so he whispered the only thing he could. Thank you. As the woman walked away, something stirred in her heart. She couldn't stop thinking about him. About the generosity she had witnessed. So she picked up her phone and called someone she trusted. A social worker. A friend. Someone who cared about people like him. She said just one sentence. I found a man with a heart bigger than his situation. Not long after, a social worker arrived. Not flashing lights. Not emergency rush. Just quiet compassion. He approached the homeless man. With a smile that felt safe. I heard you helped someone today. He said gently. The man lowered his eyes, embarrassed. It was nothing. But kindness is never nothing. The social worker sat beside him. There's a shelter. A warm bed. Meals. Support. All waiting for you. The homeless man froze. Hope had been gone so long. He forgot what it felt like. A bed? He whispered. Yes, the worker replied. And a chance to start again. For the first time in months. He sat inside a warm car. No cold wind. No noise. Just quiet. He watched the city pass by. The same streets where he used to sleep. But now, he was leaving them behind. It felt unreal. Like a dream he wasn't sure he deserved. But grace does not check qualifications. The shelter door opened. Into a small room with a bed. A lamp. Clean sheets. And heat. Simple things. But to him, it looked like heaven. He sat on the edge of the bed, running his hands along the blanket, unable to speak. He whispered, "Thank you, God. I thought you forgot me." But he hadn't. Days passed. He got meals, showers, clean clothes, medical care, someone to talk to. Piece by piece, the man who was invisible began to rise again. The world saw him as homeless, but God saw him as whole, waiting to be rebuilt. And it started with one act of kindness. One afternoon, as he sat outside the shelter, the same boy appeared, holding a small paper bag. "I wanted to give this to you," the child whispered. Inside was bread. Warm. Fresh. Bought with the coins the homeless man had given him. The man's eyes filled with tears. The kindness had come full circle. He smiled at the boy, with a heart no longer empty. "You saved me," the man whispered. The boy shook his head. "No, you saved me first." As the sun set behind them, the narrator speaks. Sometimes the greatest miracles don't come from heaven to earth, but from one human heart to another. Title fades in. The homeless man who gave everything. If you love these type of videos, then subscribe, like, share and comment.